Greetings. Today, we delve into a realm shrouded in controversy and complexity, the world of prisons. Behind those imposing walls, lives are reshaped and destinies are rewritten. For centuries, prisons have served as stark reminders of society's justice system. They've evolved from dungeons of despair to institutions grappling with the weighty responsibility of punishment and rehabilitation. But amidst the bars and the routines, a new question has emerged, one that challenges our very understanding of justice and human dignity: the role of cosmetic plastic gender reconstructive surgery within the prison system. Join us as we unlock the cell doors and explore this contentious issue, examining the motivations, the ethics, and the potential impact of plastic surgery on those living behind bars and the taxpayer's purpose to pay for it. Imagine a life stripped of freedom, where every movement is regimented and every day echoes the one before. This is the reality for millions incarcerated across the globe. The prison experience is often harsh and unforgiving, just like the majority of their crimes. Inmates grapple with isolation, loss of identity, and the stigma that lingers long after their sentences are served as should be. The psychological toll can be immense, leading to low self-esteem, depression, and a sense of hopelessness that they did not consider before the crime. Rehabilitation, while a stated goal, can feel like an elusive dream within these confined walls among first-time and habitual offenders. Yet, even within this environment of deprivation, a glimmer of hope has emerged for the gender-affirming surgeries for transgender prisoners and immigrants community, a controversial proposition that suggests a radical approach to inmate well-being: plastic surgery. The very notion of cosmetic/plastic gender reconstructive surgery within prison walls sparks debate. Is it a legitimate tool for rehabilitation, offering a chance for inmates to rebuild their lives, both physically, emotionally, and sexually oriented? Or is it a frivolous and inappropriate use of resources in an environment where basic needs often go unmet? This question has divided opinions and ignited a firestorm of ethical considerations. Pause 5 seconds. Some argue that providing inmates with access to plastic surgery, particularly for reconstructive purposes, or to address severe deformities, is a humane and compassionate act. Pause 5 seconds. Claim: Kamala Harris endorsed free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention centers all over our country at taxpayer expense. Claimed by Donald Trump. According to him, he believes VP Kamala Harris addressing their so-called self-appointed physical imperfections that may be a source of shame or psychological distress. Transgender inmates can gain a renewed sense of self-worth and increase their chances of successful reintegration into society. What do you think? To grasp the significance of plastic surgery within the penal system, we must first journey back in time, tracing the evolution of prisons themselves. In the annals of history, punishment often took on a brutal and unforgiving face. From ancient dungeons to medieval castles, confinement was typically synonymous with suffering. These early prisons were places of darkness, disease, and despair, where the guilty and the innocent alike languished in deplorable conditions. The concept of rehabilitation was all but absent. Instead, prisons served primarily as instruments of retribution, designed to inflict pain and deter future wrongdoing through sheer terror. As societies progressed, so too did their methods of punishment. The 18th century witnessed a shift from corporal punishment to incarceration as a primary means of dealing with offenders. Hippolyte de Marsalis, the learned and venerable jurisconsult of Bologna, who lived at the beginning of the 15th century, mentions 14 ways of inflicting torture: the compression of the limbs by special instruments or by ropes only, injections of water, vinegar, or oil into the body of the accused. Application of hot pitch and starvation were the processes most in use. This marked the birth of the modern penitentiary. The early penitentiaries were built upon the principles of isolation and reflection. Isolation. This refers to the practice of separating prisoners from one another. The idea was that by isolating individuals, they would be prevented from associating with criminal influences and could focus on their own rehabilitation. Reflection. This implies that prisoners were expected to spend time thinking about their crimes and the consequences of their actions. The goal was to encourage remorse and a desire to change. This approach was based on the belief that by isolating prisoners and forcing them to contemplate their actions, they would be more likely to reform and become law-abiding citizens. However, over time, the effectiveness of this approach has been questioned, and modern prisons often incorporate more social and rehabilitative programs. Do you agree with the change? This era also saw the emergence of reformers who dared to challenge the prevailing harshness of the penal system. Visionaries like John Howard and Elizabeth Fry advocated for humane treatment, improved sanitation, and educational opportunities for inmates. Their efforts, though met with resistance, planted the seeds for a more enlightened approach to criminal justice, one that recognized the potential for rehabilitation and the inherent dignity of every human being, even those who had erred. The road to reform was long and arduous, marked by both progress and setbacks. Yet the enduring belief in the power of redemption fueled the ongoing debate about the true purpose of punishment. Today, prisons stand as imposing symbols of society's struggle to balance the imperatives of punishment and rehabilitation. They house a diverse population wrestling with the consequences of their actions and yearning for a second chance. Yet despite advancements in penology, the modern penitentiary often falls short of its rehabilitative ideals. Overcrowding, gang violence, and limited access to education and job training programs plague prisons across the globe. The cycle of recidivism, where released inmates end up back behind bars, underscores the systemic challenges that continue to plague correctional facilities. The debate over how to break this cycle, how to truly rehabilitate and reintegrate offenders into society, rages on. It is within this context, amidst the complexities and the controversies, that the question of plastic surgery emerges. Can a scalpel, traditionally associated with vanity and aesthetics, truly serve as a tool for healing and redemption within the unforgiving realm of prison walls? To comprehend the potential impact of plastic surgery on inmates, we must first understand the realities of life behind bars. Imagine a world stripped bare of most freedoms, where every aspect of existence is controlled and regimented. For many, prison life begins with the jarring clang of a cell door slamming shut, a stark reminder of the freedom lost and the uncertain future that lies ahead. Days melt into a monotonous routine, punctuated by meals, head counts, and limited recreational opportunities. The absence of privacy is pervasive. Inmates share cramped cells, often with strangers from vastly different backgrounds, their lives intertwined by circumstance and the shared experience of confinement. Human interaction, often fraught with tension and suspicion, becomes a precious commodity. Alliances are forged, and rivalries simmer beneath the surface, fueled by boredom, despair, and the struggle for power and control within a rigid hierarchy. The psychological toll of imprisonment can be profound. Isolation from loved ones, the loss of autonomy, and the constant threat of violence erode the spirit, leaving many to grapple with depression, anxiety, and a profound sense of hopelessness. For some, the physical environment itself becomes a source of torment. Cramped cells, poor ventilation, and inadequate medical care take their toll on both body and mind, exacerbating existing health conditions and creating new ones. The stigma of a criminal record follows inmates even beyond the prison walls, making it challenging to secure employment, housing, or even basic social acceptance upon release. The weight of these challenges can feel insurmountable, leading some to question their own worthiness and their ability to ever truly escape the shadow of their past. It is within this crucible of confinement, where hope often flickers like a fragile flame, that the idea of plastic surgery takes on a new and unexpected dimension. Could it be that a procedure often associated with vanity and superficiality holds the potential to heal both body and soul within the unforgiving confines of prison walls? The cycle of recidivism, where released inmates end up back behind bars, presents a daunting challenge for correctional systems worldwide. Despite efforts to rehabilitate and prepare inmates for reintegration, many struggle to break free from the patterns that led to their incarceration. The reasons for recidivism are complex and multifaceted, rooted in socioeconomic factors and lack of support systems. For those who have served time, the transition back to life outside can feel overwhelming. The high rates of recidivism raise troubling questions about the effectiveness of current approaches to punishment and rehabilitation. Imagine waking each day to the same sterile surroundings, the same clanging bars, the same relentless routine. For those incarcerated, time takes on a different rhythm, measured not by the changing seasons, but by the rigid schedule of prison life. The day typically begins before dawn, a symphony of clanging metal and shuffling feet as inmates rise from their bunks and line up for the morning head count. Breakfast, often a bland and unappetizing affair, offers a brief respite before the day's activities commence. For some, the day may involve menial tasks, cleaning cell blocks, or working in the prison laundry. Others may attend educational programs, seeking knowledge and skills that could pave a path toward a different future. Yet even amidst the structured routine, an undercurrent of tension permeates the air. The constant surveillance, the lack of privacy, and the ever-present threat of violence create an environment where even the most mundane tasks are imbued with a sense of unease. As the hours wear on, the weight of confinement presses down, a heavy cloak stifling dreams and aspirations. The walls of the cell, once a stark reminder of freedom lost, can morph into suffocating boundaries, closing in on the soul. The absence of loved ones, the inability to make even the simplest choices, and the constant scrutiny chip away at the spirit, leaving many to grapple with feelings of isolation, helplessness, and despair. For some, the prison yard offers a brief respite, a chance to breathe fresh air, feel the sun on their faces, and engage in fleeting moments of camaraderie with fellow inmates. Yet, even within this confined space, freedom remains elusive. Every movement is monitored, every conversation overheard, a constant reminder that they are defined not by their humanity, but by their crimes, their identities reduced to numbers on a uniform. Despite the harsh realities of prison life, the human spirit possesses an extraordinary capacity for resilience. Even in the darkest corners of confinement, hope finds a way to bloom. For some, solace comes through faith, finding strength and purpose in prayer and religious study. Others turn to art, music, or writing, transforming their pain and longing into creative expressions that transcend the bars. Education, too, can serve as a beacon of hope, offering inmates an opportunity to expand their horizons, acquire new skills, and envision a future beyond the confines of their current circumstances. These small acts of defiance, these glimpses of humanity amidst the dehumanizing aspects of prison life, serve as powerful reminders that even within the walls of confinement, the potential for change, for growth, for redemption, still flickers. One of the most insidious consequences of incarceration is the erosion of identity. Stripped of their names, their possessions, their roles in society, inmates can feel like nameless, faceless entities. defined solely by their past transgressions. The constant surveillance, the rigid routines, and the lack of autonomy chip away at their sense of self, leaving many to question who they are beyond the bars and the labels society has placed upon them. For some, the physical changes they undergo during their time in prison, the weight loss or gain, the aging process, the scars of violence or self-harm, can further distort their sense of self, making them feel like strangers in their own bodies. This struggle for identity, this search for a sense of self-worth amidst the wreckage of their pasts, lies at the heart of the debate over plastic surgery in prisons. Could it be that a procedure often associated with vanity and superficiality could, in this context, become a tool for reclaiming one's humanity, for rebuilding a shattered sense of self? Section 5. Scars of incarceration. The scars of incarceration run deep, etched not just on the body, but also on the soul. For many who have served time, the experience leaves an indelible mark, shaping their perceptions, their interactions with the world, and their ability to navigate the complex landscape of life beyond the bars. The stigma of a criminal record can be a heavy burden to carry, affecting employment opportunities, housing options, and even personal relationships. The world outside, once familiar, can feel alien and unforgiving, making reintegration a daunting and often isolating journey. It is within this context, amidst the challenges of re-entry and the enduring shadow of their past, that the question of plastic surgery takes on a new and complex dimension. Could it be that a scalpel, traditionally associated with aesthetics and vanity, could, in this instance, serve as an instrument of healing, a way to mend not just physical imperfections but also the invisible wounds inflicted by the carceral system? Medical necessity within prison walls. Medical necessity in prisons goes beyond vanity. Inmates face ailments and injuries like anyone else. Accidents and pre-existing conditions require medical interventions. Plastic surgery can restore functionality and alleviate suffering. Ethical considerations focus on the right to adequate health care. Scars of violence, scars of shame. The case for reconstructive surgery. For some inmates, the need for plastic surgery extends beyond physical ailments. They bear visible marks of past trauma, constant reminders of violence, abuse, or self-inflicted harm. Reconstructive surgery offers a chance to heal both body and psychological wounds. It becomes a symbol of transformation and a second chance. The debate over plastic surgery in prisons takes on a nuanced dimension when considering its role in mental health. Incarceration can lead to depression, anxiety, and diminished self-worth. Physical imperfections can exacerbate these challenges, contributing to body dysmorphia and social withdrawal. Proponents argue that addressing these concerns can improve mental well-being. A 2017 study found significant improvements in quality of life post-surgery. More research is needed to understand the long-term impacts within prisons. The debate over plastic surgery in prisons becomes particularly charged when we venture into the realm of purely cosmetic procedures. Should taxpayer dollars fund facelifts, breast augmentations, or liposuction for individuals serving time for criminal offenses? Opponents argue that such expenditures are frivolous and unjust, diverting resources away from essential services like education, job training, and mental health care. They contend that prisons should prioritize rehabilitation and reintegration, not cater to the vanity of those who have violated societal norms. Furthermore, critics raise concerns about the potential for coercion and exploitation within the inherently unequal power dynamics of the prison system. Could inmates feel pressured to undergo cosmetic procedures to curry favor with guards or other inmates, or even as a condition for parole? The ethical dilemmas surrounding cosmetic surgery in prisons are multifaceted and demand careful scrutiny. striking a balance between respecting individual autonomy, ensuring equitable allocation of resources, and upholding the principles of justice and rehabilitation remains an ongoing challenge. The decision to offer plastic surgery within the prison system, even for medically necessary or reconstructive purposes, should not be taken lightly. It requires a careful assessment of available resources, the expertise of medical personnel, and a thorough examination of the ethical implications. Prisons already face significant strain on their budgets, with limited funding often spread thin across competing priorities. Providing access to specialized surgical procedures necessitates an investment in qualified surgeons, anesthesiologists, nurses, and post-operative care, potentially diverting funds from other essential programs. Furthermore, performing surgery within the confines of a prison presents unique challenges. Ensuring a sterile operating environment, maintaining patient privacy, and managing post-surgical complications can be more complex in a setting not primarily designed for such procedures. Beyond the logistical and financial considerations, ethical dilemmas abound. How do we prioritize who receives access to limited surgical resources? How do we ensure informed consent in an environment where power imbalances are inherent? And how do we reconcile the potential benefits of plastic surgery with the fundamental principles of punishment and rehabilitation? One of the most significant concerns surrounding plastic surgery in prisons is the potential for abuse and exploitation. The power dynamics inherent in the correctional system create an environment where vulnerable individuals could be coerced or manipulated into undergoing procedures they do not fully understand or consent to. Inmates, desperate to improve their living conditions, gain favor with guards, or secure early release, might feel pressured to agree to surgeries they would not otherwise choose, particularly if they believe it will enhance their chances of parole or reduce their sentence. Furthermore, the lack of transparency and oversight in some correctional facilities raises concerns about the quality of care provided and the potential for unqualified or unethical practitioners to exploit inmates for financial gain. Safeguarding against abuse and exploitation requires robust ethical guidelines, stringent oversight mechanisms, and a commitment to ensuring that any plastic surgery performed within the prison system is medically necessary, ethically sound, and conducted with the full and informed consent of the inmate. Proponents of plastic surgery in prisons argue it offers inmates a chance for renewal, healing both physical and psychological wounds. Reconstructive surgery can help reclaim their bodies and self-worth. Minimizing visible reminders of trauma boosts confidence and self-esteem. Addressing physical imperfections enhances prospects for reintegration. A 2019 study found lower recidivism and greater success in employment and housing. Plastic surgery, combined with therapy, improves mental health and coping in confinement. While the potential benefits of plastic surgery in prisons are undeniable, it is crucial to weigh the drawbacks and ethical complexities. Critics argue it diverts scarce resources from essential services within strained budgets. Education, job training, and mental health care should take priority. Concerns about coercion and exploitation in the prison environment are also raised. Balancing priorities within the penal system. The debate over plastic surgery in prisons raises questions about resource allocation and the purpose of incarceration. Should taxpayer dollars fund aesthetic procedures or programs that enhance rehabilitation and public safety? Prisons grapple with limited budgets and competing demands. Specialized medical procedures require significant investment, potentially diverting funds from essential services. Critics argue prioritizing cosmetic procedures sends a mixed message about incarceration's purpose. Proponents say plastic surgery can enhance rehabilitation, self-esteem, and post-release success. The debate highlights the complex interplay of factors in resource allocation within the correctional system. Section 4. The ethical tightrope, navigating the moral maze. The ethical considerations surrounding plastic surgery in prisons are multifaceted. At the heart of the debate lies the question of autonomy and consent. Can an individual truly make a free and informed decision within the coercive environment of prison? Inmates may feel pressured to consent to procedures they would not otherwise choose. Safeguarding against coercion requires robust ethical guidelines and independent patient advocates. The debate raises questions about societal perceptions of punishment and redemption. Is it appropriate to offer procedures associated with vanity to convicted individuals? Or does denying access to such procedures constitute cruel and unusual punishment? Navigating these ethical complexities requires a nuanced approach balancing rights and justice. Section 5. Beyond the scalpel. Seeking holistic solutions. True rehabilitation extends far beyond the reach of a scalpel. Addressing the complex needs of the incarcerated requires a multifaceted approach. Education, vocational training, mental health care, and re-entry programs are crucial. These programs equip inmates with the skills and support they need. Addressing root causes like poverty and lack of education is essential, creating a just society where incarceration is less necessary. To truly understand the impact of plastic surgery within the prison system, we must listen to the voices of those who have lived it, the inmates themselves. Their stories offer a raw and often poignant glimpse into the motivations, hopes, and lingering doubts that surround these procedures.
I spent years trying to hide this scar, ashamed of what I had done, of who I used to be. When I heard about the possibility of plastic surgery, it felt like a second chance, a way to finally shed that old skin and step into the man I'm trying to become.
For some, the decision to undergo plastic surgery is driven by a desire to erase the visible markers of a troubled past, gang tattoos, scars from fights, or the self-inflicted wounds of addiction.
I used to look in the mirror and see nothing but the mistakes I'd made, the pain I'd caused. After the surgery, it was like looking at a stranger, but in a good way, like I could finally start to forgive myself.
Any program or procedure we implement must be evaluated through that lens. From the perspective of those tasked with maintaining order and security within the often volatile environment of a prison, the introduction of plastic surgery presents both opportunities and challenges.
Our primary responsibility is to ensure the safety and security of both our staff and the inmates entrusted to our care.
Wardens must weigh the potential benefits of offering plastic surgery, reduced violence, improved inmate morale, and enhanced reintegration prospects against the logistical and ethical considerations.
Resources are always a concern. Do we invest in surgical procedures, or do we allocate those funds to bolster our educational programs, improve our mental health services, or address the ever-present issue of overcrowding?
Section 3. The Psychologist's Lens. Exploring the mental health implications. Psychologists working within the correctional system offer a unique perspective on the potential psychological impacts of plastic surgery on the incarcerated population.
We know that incarceration itself can have a profound impact on an individual's mental health. Isolation, lack of autonomy, and the trauma of confinement can lead to depression, anxiety, and a diminished sense of self-worth.
For some inmates, particularly those bearing the visible marks of past trauma or struggling with body dysmorphia, plastic surgery may offer a path toward healing and self-acceptance.
It's crucial to remember that plastic surgery is not a quick fix for deep-seated psychological issues. Thorough mental health assessments, realistic expectations, and ongoing therapy are essential to ensure positive outcomes.
Section 4. A Surgeon's Oath, Weighing Medical Necessity, Ethics, and the Unique Challenges of Prison Healthcare. For surgeons who agree to provide their services within the prison system, the decision to perform plastic surgery, even for reconstructive purposes, is not one taken lightly. They must navigate a complex landscape of medical ethics, security concerns, and the unique challenges of providing care within a correctional setting. Ensuring informed consent, maintaining patient confidentiality, and navigating the often strained relationship between inmates and medical staff are paramount concerns. And as with any medical procedure, the potential risks and complications must be carefully weighed against the potential benefits, both for the individual inmate and the institution as a whole. Section 1. The Scales of Justice, the Surgeon's Knife. As we've journeyed through the complex and often controversial landscape of plastic surgery within the prison system, one truth has become abundantly clear. There are no easy answers. The desire to heal, to rebuild, to reclaim one's life from the ashes of past mistakes is a fundamental human yearning, one that extends even within the unforgiving confines of prison walls. Yet the very act of wielding a scalpel in the name of rehabilitation raises profound ethical questions about the nature of punishment, the allocation of scarce resources, and the potential for coercion and exploitation within a system rife with power imbalances. The stories we've heard, the perspectives we've explored, reveal the deeply personal nature of this debate. For some inmates, plastic surgery represents a chance for a fresh start, a tangible step towards shedding the visible markers of a troubled past and embracing the possibility of a brighter future. For others, it's a slippery slope, fraught with ethical dilemmas and the potential to perpetuate the very inequalities that the justice system should strive to dismantle. Section 2. Reforming Rehabilitation, a Vision for the Future. As we look to the future of correctional reform, the debate over plastic surgery in prisons serves as a potent reminder that true rehabilitation requires a holistic approach, one that extends far beyond addressing physical imperfections. Investing in education, vocational training, mental health services, substance abuse treatment, and re-entry programs is essential to breaking the cycle of recidivism and empowering individuals to become productive members of society. Creating pathways to employment, housing, and social support upon release is crucial to ensuring that those who have served their time have the opportunity to rebuild their lives. And perhaps most importantly, we must address the systemic inequalities, the poverty, lack of opportunity, and discrimination that often lie at the root of criminal behavior. Only then can we truly hope to create a society where the need for prisons and the complex ethical dilemmas they present diminishes with each passing generation.